41. Now though, it's the Pet Surgeons.
Here in Cork, there's a state-of-the-art animal practice with a very special team of vets.
These are directly close to the spinal cord, and if we push too far, it's danger.
Every day, clients come from all over Ireland.
No kissing. It's a first date.
For the most advanced veterinary and nursing care.
Basically, this is a bite wound, which you would manage the same, be it dog or cat.
This is the story of Gillaby Veterinary Hospital, its staff and its patients. From beloved family pets to exotic wildlife, from cats and dogs to parrots and cheetahs. You never know who or what will come through the door next. Every day brings new surprises at Gillaby. Some more welcome than others.
A dog pooed in my pocket before. She wouldn't let me have him on the table, and the next minute there was poo in my pocket. Luckily I didn't put my hand in.
Yeah, we were told that penguins have a kind of a hook on their beak, so that kind of tweaked their interest. Well, saying, I don't want to be dragging you into it, mine, because I did get a bite. I didn't provoke it, but I did get a...
Good morning, Gillaby Veterinary Hospital. Valerie speaking.
I did get a call about someone who wanted their dog neutered and were interested to see if we could put implants into their little ball region. Possibly the same person.
Yeah. He's such an awkward.
The first clients this morning are brother and sister Shane and Karen from Tralee, who brought their beloved terrier Peanut for a consultation with vet Shane.
Peanut is 9 years old. He's some form of a terrier. As to what he is, I'm not sure. He's up here for an MRI today. He has a lump in his leg. We're not going to call it any more than that for now.
Most of the cases we get are really serious, and the animals are really unwell. But you'll occasionally get cases which are maybe not as serious.
The lump on Peanut's leg has already been biopsied 3 times. Still worried, Shane and Karen want him to have an MRI scan.
Peanut had this, yes, a large lump on its back leg, but it was benign. But the stress on the owners, it was amazing how just these two were just so worried about surgery. Okay, so we can see the large swelling that's there. You know, what's there is quite firm.
So it wouldn't have always, it would have been softer.
Would it? Yeah.
It would have been softer.
It's going to become firmer as time goes on. Okay. When we get lumps like this, we usually check the nearest lymph node that we can feel to see is it enlarged, to suggest is it involved in this as
yes.
well. So again, the MRI will be very helpful to show us is that lymph node involved in what's going on. He's a very fit little dog. He's in great nick for a little guy that's 9 years of age. We'd love to see that when we give this little guy an MRI today, that it turns out to be a benign lipoma, so a benign tumour, and that it's something that's well circumscribed and it gives us a great chance of having it removed entirely.
It's so big and it's so pronounced on the back of his leg that you're always a bit worried that there's something more.
So he spends Monday nights with me, Wednesday night my mother and father, and the rest of them with Shane.
Is that right?
He's like a child of divorce.
That's
He
right.
goes around from house to house.
As Peanut is prepped for his scan, Shane is hoping the results will clear the way for a simple surgical removal.
So this is Peanut scan. You can see from here the muscle is the darkest shade of grey, and the fatty tissue is very white compared to the normal muscular.
The great news for Peanut is that we have what looks like a well-contained tumour. Potentially means that we can make a surgery and we can remove this in its entirety, which is great news for the dog.
Shane put us at ease very quickly, and you knew what was happening needed to be done. So I think that was
I've been sick for a week.
Hi guys. Just the idea of any procedure frightens people. It still surprises me how big a part these animals play in people's lives. It's extraordinary.
I mean, we'd always look at our list of appointments every day, and with experience you'd have a fairly good idea with most of those what you're coming up against, and I suppose as well with experience you know if there's a major red flag coming in the door.
Labrador Joey has developed a persistent cough. Her owner John has brought her in to see vet Catherine.
This is Joey. She's a 13-year-old lab. She's here today to get checked out for a bad cough that's been very persistent over the last probably 2 months, I suppose. So this is just her 3rd visit back. She's been on 2 sets of medication, and she might need an x-ray this morning now, maybe. So, let's see how it goes today now.
Hi there, good morning, how are you doing?
Yeah.
With Joey, the fact that she was coughing, it wasn't going away, that's, in a younger dog, maybe not a big concern, but when I looked at her records and saw what age she was, that suddenly becomes very, very worrying as to why she's doing that. Do you think she's actually any worse with the cough? Or have you seen any change in it since you
She's
first
getting
came in?
slightly more uncomfortable when she's coughing, it's really irritating, or it's like something stuck in her stomach or something like
I
that.
suppose straight away I'm thinking that we're going to need to find out from the owner how has she been over the past couple of months. We'd want to be checking her weight to see has she potentially lost any weight. The weight is just a big concern for me, especially when she appears fine and appears to be eating fine. And is she drinking any more than before that you've noticed?
Yeah,
Filling up the water
she's drinking a bit more actually.
Okay. Yeah, get a general sense of her overall well-being before then we would focus on the cough. What I would propose that we do
Is firstly just a general blood test, get an idea of what's going on with all her internal organs, okay? So her liver and her kidneys.
Hopefully it's not too bad. I kind of had in the back of my head that there was something significant wrong anyway, but hopefully, as I say, it's not too bad.
I'm quite worried with her. She's lost a very dramatic amount of weight. Just be worried that there's something nasty going on, unfortunately.
1, 2, 3.
Fully sedated, Joey is taken to radiology for an X-ray that will hopefully identify the source of her worrying cough.
I'm quite concerned initially because it seems to be a soft tissue stripe in the trachea, and we do have a bit of a gurgle in the tube.
Oh, the poor dog. This is certainly not good.
The ominous results of Joey's X-ray mean Beth's Catherine and Tom must now take a lung tissue sample.
So just spoken to John. He's understandably, he's very upset. He's quite shocked as well as to the extent of what's going on in her chest.
If I'm honest, I suppose I did have a bit of a concern in the back of my mind. I remember saying to my dad, like, that she had that cough for, I suppose, a couple of weeks. I hope it's not something serious. Like, it sounded, it was really deep in her lungs, like.
Our plan from here really is that we want to try and identify what type of tumour this is, and then once we know exactly what it is, we'll be able to, to advise John accordingly as to how it's going to behave.
I wasn't prepared for the shock I got, I suppose, that day, really, like.
There is some compromise to her kidney function. It's very much the least of her problems at the moment. That's just something that we'll be aware of.
What possibly could be done for her, do you think?
It's something we need to try and ideally identify it, okay? And we can do more targeted treatment and try and see what we're up against. Because the one that did spring to mind with us is the possibility of a lymphoma. Simply because her windpipe is being pushed really, really high up in front of the heart. Now, there does look like there is some spread of it in that area. She's so well otherwise, she's so full of life otherwise. Yeah, absolutely. And I know it's a big shock. I really do. There we go. Of course, you want to say to them, look, they'll probably be fine, but you don't know. I would always, give them the heads up, as it were, that I'm worried about something.
On the eve of the surgery, Peanut the terrier is at home with his family in Tralee.
We got Peanut 9 years ago this month. I think I went on to the Limerick Animal Welfare website to see what dogs need to be rehomed, and Peanut jumped off the page and went up that Saturday and collected him, and he's been just part of the family ever since. He goes from house to house, place to place. He's 3 houses he goes to. He spends most of his time here, but he spends Monday nights with Karen and Wednesday nights with my parents.
Peanut, up to me. There's a good fella. He doesn't know where he's going sometimes. Shane says he owns him because he pays the license. But I think we all have a share in him. And quite honestly, we all have a share in him.
My mother was diagnosed with cancer soon after we got Peanut, and he'd lie in the bed with her, and if she was awake, he'd lie beside her and just stay there. And
he'd jump into the bed and he'd stand over her like that. And if she stayed asleep, he'd just come back down. But if she woke up, he'd just lie down with her. So that's why he is so special to us. Aren't you? Kathleen, which is cancer-free for the last 7 years, thank God. So we have this fella who'll be with us all that time.
We had a biopsy a few times and it kept coming back that it was fine, but then when it continued to grow, you'd be worried about it, you'd just be questioning it. Hopefully, this time tomorrow, we'll be getting him back, please God.
People think we're mad, but sure, that's the way we are. He's our pet and that's it.
Back at Gillaby, Nurse Christina has turned hairdresser.
0.6 of a kilo? There's a lot there, but it's not going to be that heavy, surely.
I'd say 0.5. 0.5 there. 0.5. 0.6.
On the button.
Years of practice.
Joey's test results are back, confirming that she has a malignant lung tumour. Her owner John has come to discuss available options with Gillaby's oncology specialist, Lasara.
Hi, Mr. Cronin. Hello, I'm Lasara. Nice to meet you. And Joey. Hi, Joey. I've heard loads about you. Like in people, dogs and cats can develop cancers of all different organ systems or regions of their body. So for the vast majority of those types of cancer, they do occur in older dogs. When we talk to owners about lung tumours, we generally talk to them about prognostic factors, so things that will help us decide whether Joey's going to have a tough time and potentially this is a life-limiting cancer for her, or, you know, some dogs actually do quite well with the diagnosis of a lung tumour if it's caught early. I suppose it's only fair to say right at the beginning that I think you're aware as well that Joey's disease is unfortunately relatively advanced at this stage. Joey has a primary lung tumour, so this is a tumour that's arising from the cells of his lung tissue, and unfortunately in his case, by the time we determined that that's what he had, the tumour was too large to be surgically resectable. It's very unlikely that the chemotherapy will completely make her cancer go away. I'm really sorry to give you that news.
With Joey's options limited, the old Labrador's owner John has a hard decision to make. 13-year-old Labrador Joey has recently been diagnosed with lung cancer. A painful revelation for her owner, John.
We had a couple of options, like she could have got chemo, there was the palliative care scenario, but the cancer was so progressed like that I didn't really have much of a decision to make. Like,
we're looking to, I suppose, palliate her clinical signs and make her feel better for the time that she has left.
I mean, there was no point really putting her through chemo, like, because I don't think it would have done much for her. Like, it was too advanced, and I just didn't want her to be going through any pain. She didn't deserve that. Like, you're fine, Joe. You're fine. You're fine, Joe.
It is somewhat of a guess on my part, but I think that we'd be looking at more like, you know, if we could palliate her for 3 to 4 months, we'd be doing well.
I kept emphasising it's all about quality of life, like, and I just kept focusing on that as much as I could, like, that, you know, whatever time she had, that I wanted it to be good time, I suppose, and I didn't want her to be sick.
If you need anything in the meantime,
Great.
Just give me a shout.
Thank you.
Okay,
thanks. Bye.
I'd say he's aware something is happening. There was the moments of a few whinges and a few cries and many smelly farts along the way as he went into slight panic mode, but it's okay.
Big day for Peanut now, and he's come for surgery today, so they'll be nervous, and I just have to try and reassure them.
He's shaking away.
It's huge. Look at the size of that thing. So it's no wonder that it's interfering with his ability to walk.
Yeah.
It's going to be shaved from hip to toe.
Could you make it nice? I'm a hairdresser. Make it nice and neat.
I see you have the matching colour.
Yeah, we are the matching colour. Yeah, I'll fix it myself if it's not right.
So no pressure. So all going well. We shouldn't have any complications. There's always a risk with any anaesthetic, but you know everything is kind of stacked in our favour. Nice and fast. In quickly. Get the surgery done. Get your little dog recovered.
See you later, small guy.
Give him a hug. Give him a kiss. Okay, I'll talk to you later.
Perfect. Thanks, Jack.
Just make sure it's a nice even edge. Right, and so when you come in, just finish it like this, because you know, and she's going to be looking at this, and she did tell me.
We've had it 9 years, and I'd say in those 9 years, if he's spent 9 hours on his own, that's the sum total of it. It's hard to hand him over then and say, take him away there and do something.
Yeah, so I want to try and get it out all in one piece.
Yeah.
So my margins are very important. And typically with these lipomas, when we go in, they have a lovely envelope that surrounds them, and they basically exist almost independent of the surrounding tissue. This little guy has got a little bit more communication. These little tiny little strands that are attaching itself to the surrounding tissue. So Sophia and I are just going to gently work our way through this and peel this away. So I'm just using my finger, and it's something that's very, very gentle, just using that to follow the plane of where this tumour is. The concern with some of these lipomas is that they can have these little finger-like projections, these little tentacles, these little fingers of tumour tissue that stretch into the surrounding muscle. And that can make them tricky to remove. And in fact, it can mean that we can't remove it all. And in some cases, you leave little bits behind. So we want to take out what's left as carefully as we can. But now we have to say to these people, this is going to be a car. It could be 6 months, it could be 2 years, it could be 5 years. And what will probably happen is these little tumour cells will grow in size slowly, and they'll increase in that size. Having Karen and Shane aware of that, they can just be checking to see can they feel anything. And I'm sure they'll tell me when they can. And so we're looking to see, will this tumour grow in size? And probably then once it's starting to interfere with movement, then they can come back and have it removed again.
In the treatment room, Gilabi's exotic animal specialist Pat is dealing with Lucy, a young lemur from Photo Wildlife Park, who's recently been in the wars.
Pat looks after our exotic species and things I definitely don't touch with scales.
Guinea pigs, rabbits, birds, chickens, anything exotic, they're all kind of towards Pat and that.
We've given her some fluids and photo. We've taken bloods as a precaution, as we routinely do with any of these situations, and we've given her some pain relief and antibiotics before we arrived.
There's definitely a buzz in exotics. I mean, like when Boulder comes in, everyone wants their tea break out of the way, everyone wants to be near to Pat, so he might just be the one that you call to help him.
The coat is so thick and fine, we never quite know sometimes the extent of the injuries until you really go looking. The major wounds there are quite obvious, but we've just discovered a few more. That's another one. Poor Lucy is right. I've qualified now just over 30 years, and it only seems like a blink of an eye, but I would still feel the same enthusiasm today, I would hope, as I did at the beginning. Basically, this is a bite wound, which you would manage the same as you would with a companion animal, be it dog or cat. The one good thing about these fellows is that their immune systems tend to be much more robust and their healing powers tend to be much quicker. So they have some advantages from that point of view, from my point of view as regards trying to make them better. I keep saying it, we're very fortunate. We have a fantastic team of nurses. I mean, the vets that panic around here, the nurses are always nice and calm and relaxed.
As they wait for Lucy to come round, the nurses get a chance to examine the tiny primate up close.
Her hands, like, there were so human-like qualities to them that you just couldn't help but, like, you know, pick them up and, like, hold them and, like, examine them.
Look at the nails, they're just perfect. Look at the tiny pointy one.
All right, Professor. Okay, say bye-bye.
Lucy will return to Fota, where she'll spend a few days in isolation until her wounds heal. Meanwhile, Peanut has woken up from surgery. It's been an anxious few hours for owners Karen and Shane.
We just walked around the city, basically up and down and in and out into the shops, went for bite of breakfast, lunch and coffee and cake and everything else in the process, waiting for the phone call.
He's good, quite right after his surgery. We've offered him a little bit to eat, but he's not interested just yet. Probably happy to go home tonight. The best thing for them is that they get to leave. I always say that, I'm just like, I have to come back in tomorrow. You might get to go home tomorrow, you know.
Thank you very much.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Take care, guys.
After hearing all the work that had gone on, I thought he'd be very stiff and very sore, so it's great to see him pottering around here and jumping in and out of the car and stuff. So we hit the road for Kerry now, bring him home to everyone.
Over the last 6 weeks, Joey's condition has slowly deteriorated.
We never had a dog growing up, so I suppose Joey has kind of adopted a family dog. You know, everybody loves her, like my sisters are crazy about her, like they were here now over the weekend with her, like, and they're fierce upset about the whole thing, like it's going to be like a loss to the family, to be honest. Like, I've kind of reconciled the fact that, look, the time is coming short now, to be honest. Like, I don't know how long she's got left, like, but I can't imagine it's very long, you know. When I got Bruno, I was thinking that Joey would live another 3 or 4 years, and I thought that's why I got Bruno at the time, like, but I didn't think that Joey would go downhill so quickly, like, you know. Just trying to deal with it and trying to make it as comfortable for her as possible, like, and just see what exactly the process is, like. It's just going to be horrific, like.
I think it's a tremendous privilege that we have as vets that we can perform euthanasia on our patients. It's something that we never ever do lightly. You can say to a person, look, you need to keep your strength up, you need to keep eating and drinking and whatever else. You can't say that to a pet, and if they got to the point where they don't want to eat and drink and all that, it's not fair to them to prolong that.
What I could say to you is, okay, we'll literally go take each 24 hours as it comes, and see in terms of food intake what she'll take for you today.
Yeah.
If she won't take anything else for you today or the morning, I don't think it would be fair to take it any further with her. You know, that's what I would feel really, is that we give her that much. I'm sorry, I really am.
I suppose everybody's selfish about their own animals. They want them to live as long as they can, but I was kind of thinking that she did. Like, she was a very fit dog, like. It's just unfortunate she picked up the lung cancer, like.
I do find it difficult, especially with a case like Joey, where I've been involved since the diagnosis. He's been wonderful to his dog. He brought her in when he needed to bring her in, and he's doing right by her every step of the way.
Later that evening, Joey's owner John made the call to Catherine. The time had come.
In fairness, it's very, very fast and it's very peaceful, like, process towards the end, and it's only afterwards then, like, you kind of get the sense of relief that she's in a very peaceful place, like, and it's comforting not to see her in a distressed fashion, you know.
Every moment with her was precious at that point in time, and he wanted to be fair to her at all stages, but understandably, he wanted every moment possible with her.
She treated Joey like she was her own dog, and I'll never forget it. Like, I mean, she even got a bit emotional at times, like, which was kind of, you know, you knew that she was in the right place, you know.
It's been a difficult time for John, but at least Joey's old playmate Bruna was there to comfort him.
It's like a weightlifting, because she's in a better place as well, like, but since then I suppose it was very tough now, in fairness, for a while afterwards, but I suppose I'm very lucky to have this guy here. He can be challenging at times, to be honest, like, he's a very affectionate dog, very nice dog, very good natured dog, like.
In Tralee, now fully recovered, Peanut is back to his old self.
Yeah. He's very good. It really, like, he didn't yield to it or anything after the operation. He wasn't a bit sore, well, no, he was sore initially the first couple of days, but after that then, like, he surprised us all really how good he was. I was a nervous wreck, but I'm a nervous wreck with anything to do with him. He's like my baby, he's my child. Shane and the lads looked after him really, really well, even though we wouldn't leave him overnight, but anyway, he had to come home. But he's great now.
even just consciously telling yourself to keep your eyelids open is obviously causing him some discomfort, and it shouldn't be exposed like that.
I'm in trouble because I left him off the lead and he went off. He was hit by a car.
So we're going to try and reconstruct his fracture and see if we can give him back a functional hip.
She was throwing up her food, and actually eating it again. So it went on, and I said it was better to get it investigated.
A quarter of the dogs that have surgery have complications at surgery and don't make it.
We have the RTE Main Evening News with Angus McGreal next, and after that Primetime asks whether the tax burden on the middle class should be eased. That's at 9:35. And at 10:15 the case of a missing person takes an unexpected turn as Scott and Bailey return.